Well, chicks dig the long ball. We know that from baseball. But fans of Wichita State basketball will learn to love that same moniker with this year's team.
And it's so much football, Susan. Can you possibly pack it into one sportscast? We'll find out the answer tonight at 10. That's a slam dunk on my coverage here in Salt Lake City. Chris Frye, Cake Sports.
I'm not a witch. I'm just a Wichitan. And yes, my rent is too darn high. But I'm fine with that.
To the Blitz once again, Chris Frye, your host on this Friday night, brought to you by Blockbuster, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. The final Friday night of the first part of the regular season before it really counts. District play begins next Friday, so tonight was pretty much a dress rehearsal. The fans are starting to flock into Energy Solutions Arena for tonight's twin bill. Of course, Game 1 with Syracuse and Butler just underway. The winner of that game will get the winner of tonight's game between Xavier and Kansas State. If Jeff Herndon ever left Cake, they would probably burn his suit.
Did you just call Cleveland the mistake by the lake?
That's what they call it, didn't you? Just a mistake by the lake.
Okay.
Well, it's official. Xavier Henry is heading to Kansas, ending weeks of speculation on where the nation's #1 basketball recruit would be heading to play basketball. You know, Xavier has had Kansas on the top of his list from the beginning.
While most of you were sleeping around 2:30 this morning, Mario Little had other ideas. And now the Jayhawks senior forward will most certainly learn that nothing good happens after midnight.
We know Bryce Brown as the ultra-talented running back out of East High School. His skills garnered him national recognition as the nation's #1 high school recruit in 2009. In March, Bryce announced he would take his talents to the University of Tennessee, and it was a decision given to him through family counseling and divine intervention.
At the beginning, I didn't know I was going to go to Tennessee at all, but God put it on my heart, and it felt like Tennessee was a place that I could go spiritually more than any other school.
And this is another side of Bryce many fans don't see. His love and commitment to his faith.
I felt like that I touched people through. I mean, it's not about, in the end, this is not about football. This is about reaching out to other people and giving them a chance to get connected with God.
Bryce's commitment to Tennessee was made in large part to a close relationship he developed with Vols assistant coach Eddie Grant. But the two also shared a common interest in faith, which made Bryce's decision an easy one.
When I first met Coach, I could tell right then and there that his relationship and the way he was as a person was something that I was used to with being around Brian, passionate about, and they expect greatness. And just with his spirituality and hearing what, how God has touched him, I feel like that I can help him and he can help me also grow in our spiritual lives.
Humbled by his talents as a football player, Bryce plays as an inspiration to others to seek the faith and believe that anything is possible.
I believe that God has put it on me to where people see me, that they see him. And, this is not about me. This is about doing what God has for me to do and letting his will be done.
In Wichita, Chris Frye, Cake Sports. And who Coach Martin is referring to with Xavier's head coach Chris Mack. He's in his first season for the Musketeers. He's led them to a 26-8 record overall, 14-2 in the Atlantic 10. And of course, that player you saw at the end of that piece, their sensational player, Jordan Crawford for Xavier. If you don't know who he is, he's the kid that dunked on LeBron James at the beginning of the season, and he's been tearing it up in the NCAA tournament, 27.5 points per game in 2 games in the big dance. Of course, K-State's going to have to focus on that, but Xavier's going to have to focus on the duo for the Wildcats with Jacob Pullen and Denny Clemente. It should be a lot of fun tonight here in Salt Lake. This game tips off around 8:37 Central. Of course, we'll have plenty recap and highlights. You have to tune in to GMK on Friday morning to check that out. We'll have all that for you coming up on Friday morning. For now, we are live in Salt Lake City. Chris Frye, Cake Sports.
Wichita State men's hoops haven't even begun to hit their stride in this early season, but one player is already off to a quick start. David Kiles has been as explosive as his dunks on the floor, leading the shots in scoring and minutes played. This after missing the final 6 games of last season due to a thumb injury. The time off gave the junior a chance to look, listen, and learn from the bench.
That hurt me a lot, actually, and I promised in the locker room after when I was able to come back that I was going to go hard as I can for as long as I can and do whatever I can to help the team win.
I reminded him that his career was half over, and thus far it had not been great. So if he wanted to have a great career, it was still time, but he needed to kick it into high gear at this point. So he seems to have done that.
Number 4 Kansas will host UCLA in the Big 12 Pac-10 Hardwood Classic tonight. The Jayhawks are 5-10 all-time versus the Bruins, beating them last year 73-61. Despite a 3-2 start, Bill Self says don't sleep on this young Bruin squad.
They're much better, and Ben will coach them up, and they'll definitely guard us, and so it'll be a game where there's probably very few easy baskets. I'm excited about it, and our guys will be excited about playing, you know, arguably as storied a program as there is in the country.
How about Kansas women's basketball last night, scoring an all-time best 126 points in a win over Maine, in the same breath claiming the program's 700th all-time victory. The Lady Hawks are perfect on the season at 7-0. No quarterback in the month of November has played better than Matt Castle. The Chiefs signal caller was named AFC Offensive Player of the Month, throwing 12 touchdown passes to just 1 interception. He's the first Kansas City quarterback since Steve DeBerg, old school, in 1990 to be named to this honor. Troy Morrell knows a thing or two about success in his 10-plus seasons at Butler. He'll have a chance to bring home the Grizzlies' 3rd junior college national title in 4 years Sunday, taking on Navarro. It will be the first game in 3 weeks for the Grizzlies, but the layoff shouldn't be a problem.
We got to do things to stay in good shape, to stay sharp as far as our offense, defense, and special teams go. And at the same time, you want to give those guys a little bit of a break to get some miles off their feet and to heal some injuries up.
It's the mother of all returns. All eyes will be on Northeast Ohio tonight. Former Cavalier LeBron James makes his return to Cleveland as a member of the Miami Heat. Cleveland fans, of course, were none too pleased about his departure, taking his talents to South Beach, and he expects a raucous crowd for his long-awaited return.
I think it's going to be tough, but, you know, I'm there to win a basketball game and understand. You know, I understand how passionate fans are about sports, so, you know, I'm ready for whatever response that I'm going to get.
Be careful what you wish for, LeBron.
Exactly.
So I hope Cleveland fans have restraint and show respect despite being upset. So.
They won't.